Come here. Welcome to the Famous Foxes Aftermath Show, live every Sunday on Leicester Fan TV. Come on, you Foxes. Good morning, Foxes. How the devil are you? How's your day been so far? How's your weekend been so far? Welcome to the original Sunday morning Leicester City football show. Well, you know what day it is. It's Sunday. It's 9:30 a.m. So it's time for the Famous Foxes Aftermath Show, run by us fans in here for you fans out there. And you know what? Your opinion really matters. So get them comments in. Let's get going. It's kickoff time. Come on, you Foxes.
The City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.
Morning, Ian. Yes, I had it in green as well, but the handle broke, so I used it that much. I hope you're well. I hope you're good. But yeah, I did have the green one, but back to the blue. My favourite period of football, I think that was. Not the best, but one of my favourites. Another weekend, says Patrick, another weekend unbeaten, but still no goals. Morning, Chapster. Jamie, already done homework. He's lucky. He's lucky. Wayne, morning. Dan, morning. Tony Smith says Wednesday will be 66 days since our last league goal. I thought it was a bit longer than that, actually. I thought it was more 100. I thought it was well over 100 days, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. On that note, I'm going to bring Reedy in. Morning, Reedy. How are you, pal? Are you good?
Hello, I'm good.
Little smiling face there. You been chucking some hours this week, mate?
Yeah, mate, always.
Reedy's trying to make it professional as darts now, but I'm not sure how far he's going to go as a professional. But he's chucking a few hours now and again.
Now and again, most nights, so we'll take that.
Most nights. Anyway, George Curtis says, morning, Jamie. We reckon more chance of Locks attending a match than getting a goal at Man. Oh, I didn't realise that comment was going to be that. Right, we'll leave that one. Already in the mirror. Reedy in the mirror. Reedy in the mirror. I'm not sure about that. We've got Man City on Wednesday. Are you attending that, pal?
Of course I am, mate.
Well,
even if we got slaughtered 7-0.
You'd still be there, would you? Even if we got slaughtered 7-0. Jamie Trigger Taft says, please give the youngsters a go and build the championship for next. I think he's right. I do believe he's got to start giving some of the youngsters a bit of a go.
I would disagree in the fact of if we do want to stay up, then our best chance is putting our best quality players in. Yes, the youngsters could be better for us right now in the fact of not many players are doing well, but I don't know, because I'd like to see Monga start, but I don't think he's going to be great. Like in a team that's like against Man City, what's he going to really do? Maybe yes, he could score a screamer, but I don't know. I think it might demoralise their their mentality on it. I don't know. I don't think we are staying up. I'm just saying that, are you giving up now? Because there's still chance you can stay up. See, there you go. Yeah, I think it's right. I think it's demoralising.
Yeah. I agree with that. No youngsters at City could be very demoralising. Tony says we are staying up.
No, he's not. He's saying that staying up with a laughing face.
Oh, staying up crying. Sorry, yes. No, we are. Wayne says, no, we are down. Let's see what the youngsters can do. Freshers. I don't think it will be too demoralising to be honest, pal. If you get some of the youngsters there, they need a chance to play. They need a chance to play, and hopefully they'll get some game time. Right, an old friend of the, well, not an old friend of the show, that's the wrong word to use. A friend of the show's just joined. Sorry, Julian, I didn't mean old. I just meant, as in, you know what I meant.
No, you're quite right.
I brought Julian on today. A lot of the old uns on here, the old school, will remember Julian playing for us back under Martin O'Neill. And with what's going on at the club at the minute, it was 29 years ago today, Julian, you made your debut for Leicester. Does it feel that long ago?
Oh my God, it's unbelievable, mate. Time just flies by, and but I've got great memories.
The reason I've asked you, because it's 29 years ago, we all know what happened after it, but that day you joined, there was huge protest, wasn't there, about Martin O'Neill? And we're sort of having that same kind of thing now. Reedy's looking a bit gobsmacked because he wasn't even born 29 years ago, so he's not quite sure what's going on here. But there was a huge protest, and things are happening now. There was a protest a few weeks ago, Project Reset. There's one about a plane going over, which we used to see at Filbert Street, an awful lot of planes going over. What was it like being in the changing rooms before and after the game, especially on your debut? I mean, it must have been a bit strange.
It was a bad day for me personally. I mean, the move turned out to be great, but obviously I come from Sheffield Wednesday. We played Sheffield United. We lost 2-0. I didn't play well. I remember someone in the crowd saying, "Stop the check," things like that. And I know I didn't play well. I'm always very being aware of if I played well or I didn't play well. So, and I think for the last 30 minutes they were singing "Piggy, Piggy, what's the score" to me. So yeah. All in all, it was a bad day, and we didn't realise what the gaffer had done, to be honest with you. And it was on the back of a bad run of results. I mean, I remember the pitch being absolutely awful. There was barely any grass on it at all. But I think what Martin did was it just made him unique. No, I don't know another manager who would have done what he did on that day. And I think he went into the car park and said, "Right, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 of you, come in, you who represent this mob, come in and we'll have a chat." And they came into his office, and I think that would have surprised them. They would have thought, "Oh, Christ Almighty, what's going off here?" And he just talked to him like he does, and he was very straight, and the way he talked to people, he would have been very honest. He would have said to them that, "Yeah, this is not great at the moment, but this is what we're trying to build." I think previous to that, obviously he'd signed Claridge, who wasn't performing well at the time, but he'd got a thyroid problem that nobody knew about. He'd signed Neil Lennon. We had a few injuries that day, actually. I don't think Walshy played that day. So we had a few injuries as well. And it was unbelievable that after that game, we turned it around, I believe, and I've not looked at the results this morning, but I believe we went to Charlton on the Tuesday and won 1-0. And then I think we went to Palace on the Saturday and won 1-0. And all of a sudden, the season turned around, and we got on this amazing run, and we all gelled as a team. Got to know my teammates well. And I know I've seen it flash up there that Muzzy made his debut on the same day, came on as a sub. No one had ever heard of Muzzy. Probably one of the best signings Leicester have ever made. And he played after that, and we just went on this unbelievable run of results that obviously culminated in us getting to Wembley.
I mean, you can't imagine it happening now, can you? That the manager, that Ruud van Nistelrooy, would go outside or go to the fans and, "Oh, you three come here and speak to us, and we'll tell you what's going on," because that doesn't happen nowadays in football, does it, Julian?
No, it doesn't. Like I say, I think it was a one-off with Martin, but I think with Ruud, who, a fantastic player and probably going to be a good manager, but I genuinely feel, and I've said to a lot of people, because obviously I still follow Leicester. Leicester are, still my team. It's the club that I've got the biggest association with. And I feel like he thought he could come in and turn things around. And I don't think he realised how big the job was. And he's now finding out, just how big the job, the job is. And I sort of feel for him a bit, because he would have come in with a lot of confidence of what he was going to change, what he was going to do. And, it's just turned out to be a monster that I don't think he can turn it around. So, unfortunately, I think we're going to have to take the pain of relegation. I can't see anything changing in the last part of the season. And I feel for him, but, it's just one of those And then my other wonder is, since the unfortunate incident with the chairman, I'm not sure that the passion is behind the ownership of the club that was once there. And I think that's really telling in the last couple of years, unfortunately.
One question about Ruud van Nistelrooy. Did you actually play against him at all? Did you manage to mark him at all?
I think my career was on its way down before he sort of came into the foreground. But listen, he was a fantastic player, and you can, he's got a lot of integrity. You can see, and he's done well as a manager previously. And I thought he handled himself well at Man United, and he probably thought he could have had a chance with that job or staying on there and being some part of the club. But then I think, unfortunately, he's looked at this job and we've looked at him and gone, oh yeah, that's a good fit, and it's not a good fit at all. You need someone with a bit more experience, and I think it's probably too late now to actually change, this season at all.
Morning, Nick. How are you, pal? You good?
I'm all right. I'm just looking at Reedy, and he looks absolutely lost with Julian talking about his days back at Filbo.
He does,
It's
doesn't
like
it?
Tweety
He's
Birds
got to ask
above
his
his
boss
head,
tomorrow.
circling around his head.
We had on yesterday. We're talking. Wait, Nick, you and me have been saying about Ruud out a few weeks ago. It's not going to happen now, as if it was going to happen, it was going to happen after the Man U game. But to give the new person a chance to come in, we're stuck with him now, aren't we, Nick? And we've got to hope and pray that something comes out. We get a couple of wins to try and build a confidence up a little bit, Nick, haven't we? It's not looking good, is it, pal?
It's not, but let's be fair. We all said at the start of the season it was going to be tough, and we all said we'd take 17th, etc., etc. But it is what it is. I feel sorry for Ruud in a way because, like I've said before, he wasn't backed in the window. Neither really was Cooper. Yes, he brought in IU and El Canoes and all that lot, and Edward at 9 million. But we needed more than what we got. We really did. And we also need a manager, a bit like under Julian in the Martin O'Neill, where he could kick them up the backside when he could see things behind the surface weren't right. So,
yeah, unfortunately, Nick, we don't get that nowadays. I don't think managers are allowed to do that now, are they, Julian? Bit of tea back, throw, bit of tea cup throw.
No, I don't think they are, unfortunately, and it's a big shame that the way that the game's going. But no, it wasn't the right appointment, and like I say, I just think the hierarchy of the club is the thing that's letting the club down at the moment, in my opinion. And I might be wrong, but I don't see the passion that the previous chairman had for the club anymore, and I think that you can see that in the decision making. I don't think Steve Cooper was a good appointment. So it's. I think personally, I think the season's gone. As Nick's just said, we'd have hoped for 17th or something like that, but I can't see that happening. I think what we're doing in games, what he's setting us up to do, he's setting us up to be very stoic and very hard to beat. But at the moment that first goal goes in, the plan B isn't there. The plan B to come, and it's very difficult as a player if you go on a pitch and you're saying, right, we're going to hold out here and try and not let them score for 90 minutes. The moment they do score, to turn that around and then go, right, we need to get on the front foot and go and attack this team. It's such a difficult thing to do, and I think that's all that Leicester is set up to do at the moment. And I remember years ago under Martin, we went to Man United, and it was the days that when you went to Man United, you just sort of hung on and hoped, in these situations now that they didn't score, and we held on for 75 minutes and they scored, and we lost 3-1 in the end. I think Neil Lennon scored with a 90th minute goal, but we couldn't turn around because we just literally sat back for 75 minutes, and they finally found a way through. Because for us, 0-0 would have been a great result, and they finally found a way through after 75 minutes. I think it was Solskjaer that scored. And we couldn't turn the performance around to go, right, we need to go and get something out of this. And I think that's where the team is at the moment now. It's set out to not concede, but we're not set out to go and win a game.
It seems like the confidence, as soon as that first goal goes in, the confidence just literally goes, doesn't it? The heads go down.
Yeah, it does. It does. And like I just said, it's so difficult as a player and as a group of players, as a team, to go, right, we've conceded, right, let's go on the front foot now. Because really what we want to do, and the manager won't do, is that we want to start on the front foot. We want to go out and see, can we win this game? But we're not. We're set up to not concede. And that's the thing. So when that goal goes in, plan A has just gone out the window. And you know, is there a plan B? And it doesn't look like there's a plan B. It's just a plan A. Let's stay in the game, and can we nick something? And as soon as they score, that plan's gone, and it's so difficult to turn it around.
Yeah, Dubster says I'd rather have Julian in our central defence now than what we have got now. But a lot of it's like walking football now, so we'll probably be okay now.
I wish I was playing now. I wish I could play centre defence now. But I mean, one of the things that I felt, you know, from my time is that there was like Simon Grayson left back, Mike Whitlow left back, Simon Grayson right back, me and Walshy, and we had Kevin Poole behind us, and we really gelled. We were such a good four, and individually probably neither of us, you know, that fantastic. But as a four, and with Pooley behind us, we did so well. You know, it's just a nice thing to remember. You know, we didn't concede a lot. We had a great team spirit, and you know, we had the guys in front of us as well. So you know, I'm not going to leave them out. But that back four to gel how it did was just amazing. And like I say, you know, individually we weren't, you know, probably amazing, but together we were very strong.
Reedy, I'm going to compare now, not the actual football itself, but now I'm going to ask you, Reedy, and I'll ask Julian this. Back in the day, there was a number of great leaders back in the day when Julian was playing. You had Walshy, Gracie, Lennon, Mike Whitlow, Matty Elliott as well. Even Joey Taggart must have been a bit of a... Well, he would have been a leader at the bar. He would have been, wouldn't he, Julian? Nowadays, Reedy, we haven't got that leader on the pitch. What do you... Reedy, what do you think is wrong? Has Julian hit the nail on the head that we haven't got that person on the pitch that can do the job for us as a leader?
I think you just don't have that general in midfield that I think like we had with Cambias of the year. We stayed up, wasn't I think I'm not right in saying, but like I say, now we've got someone like Vardy who's captain, which again is probably the best choice, but it's only because he's the only one left here from 8-9 years ago. So it is difficult. I wouldn't be able to give it to anyone else. People said that when Cody came in, he'd be the new captain or the new kind of voice in the changing rooms, and he probably is, but it's just nowhere near the same, is it?
No, it isn't. I mean, Julie, what do you think the difference is now? Because the football of start, everyone wants to play the Pep style of football, which is, I hate it. Really loves it. I hate it. Is that why there's no leaders in the game anymore? Because the style of football you used to play, which I love, so I'm not taking anything away, used to be get up and at them, grab them by the scruff of the neck and get going. That's gone now. Is that why the leaders of the game have gone out of it a bit, do you think?
I think, and like, you know, obviously the game's changed. Everything's changed about the game, and the way that we operated and the way that we were as a squad of players just wouldn't happen now. And this is something that Martin encouraged, and we literally, we used to go out together quite a lot, you know, and I'm talking about going out for a beer, and it would be like 2, 3, 4 times a week. Now, I coach a team at the moment, and I talked to them, and we had a day out the other week. We didn't have a Saturday game, so we went out as a group, and I talked to them about my time at Leicester and said, you know, because we socialised so much together, we were friends. And when you're on the pitch with a friend, you want to help him more. And there's that togetherness, and the leadership comes out of that. And I think we were all leaders. I know I had a big voice on the pitch. Walshy did. Neil Lennon did, you know, Muzzy did, Gary Parker. We were all voices, and we literally probably had about 8 or 9 captains in the team. You know, there was obviously Walsh was the captain whenever he played, but it was that socialising bit that just wouldn't, you know, fit in today's game at all. They're so much fitter than we were. I mean, we were fit lads, don't get me wrong, but you know, I can remember games where I think we'd got like, if we ever had like a couple of good results on the bounce. And Martin would say, this is after a game on a Saturday. Martin would say, I'll see you Wednesday. And we would go out Saturday night together. We would go out all day Sunday together. We'd meet up Monday and do something. And then, you know, Tuesday, your day of rest, coming Wednesday, he would absolutely run the taters off us. You know, we'd absolutely have the most physical session of all time. And then Thursday, Friday, we'd prepare for the game. And as daft as that sounds, and it doesn't sound right as professional footballers, it brought us together as a squad. The unity, I've never known unity like it. And every time I've managed a football team since, you know, and it's only like low down non-league, I've always promoted the same thing, because you just get this togetherness. And we used to call ourselves the best pub team in the Premier League. You know, that was our little in-house joke to ourselves. But we were so tight. And you said in the first season, you know, I think we were something like 3-1 to go straight back down, and we ended up with a couple of good results at the end of the season and finished. I think we finished slightly above mid-table. And you know, the semi-final in the League Cup, we out Wimbledon. You know, we absolutely went there. And it was atrocious. It's the only game that I've never shook a hand of an opponent after the game, because they all walked off the pitch. I remember before the game, Vinnie Jones and a few other lads walking down with crates of champagne, because they'd drawn 0-0 at our place and they thought it was a given they were going to beat us. And they were bringing all the beers before the game. And it's a really tiny tunnel at Selhurst Park. And it was quite obvious they were doing it in front of us. And we went out there and we out Wimbledon. You know, it was like a war of attrition. I mean, I've got a picture of me. I've got my eyes out here, nose bleeding. I've got blood on my shirt. And we just battled. And we were just so together. I think Gary Parker cleared about 2 or 3 off the line in injury, you know, in extra time. And it just made us, you know, that group of togetherness. And you can't replicate it now. You simply can't replicate it. And like I say, I'm not saying we lived the right life at the time, but it certainly made us a tight unit as a team.
Yeah. Nick, Ian says we need more characters in the team, and he says he can't imagine Julian wanting to let Neil, Lennon or Walshy down. We haven't got that kind of thing in the team, have we, at the minute, Nick, that the players don't seem to be bothered whether they do the job or not. They don't seem to have any... It's like the fans. They don't give a damn if the fans are let down when they go away, losing 7 on the bounce. I'd be absolutely hated that if I walked away from there losing the 7th game on the bounce like we have. There just doesn't seem to be anything there, does there, Nick? It's gone. I
think a lot of it is in the football general, to be perfectly honest. With this new style, this tiki-taka rubbish that everybody seems to like, apart from me and you and some others in the chat. We've lost the Mavericks, we've lost the leaders, we've lost the likes of a Walshy, you know, kicking off with Ian Wright at Filbert Street, you know, and having to go to the FA together to get each other out of the lurch. But I don't know, I don't like this modern time football. If I had a time machine, I would go back to the days of Julian and Walshy and, you know, Gary Parker, David Lowe, you know, Larry Grayson, because football was better then. And you could watch as a neutral. You could watch a Chelsea Liverpool game, for example, and it'd be end to end, and they'd be going for it. For example, the last one was so dull and boring. I fell asleep. Just the game in general. I mean, England games. That, you know, the summer we went up with the playoffs with Claridge's shin. We had Euro '96. That's probably the last England tournament I actually loved and enjoyed, because it was just football at its best, in my opinion. But
it was. Julian, sorry, Reedy, I'll get to you in a minute. There's no questions for you, Reedy, so you can learn about our history from Julian here. Ian's asked a question because nowadays you get managers, assistant managers, technical data and analysts and stuff like that. But Ian wants to know how good of an assistant was John Robinson, and was he one of the lads at times?
I don't think he's going to like my answer. Robbo was fine. I mean, he was a character. Obviously, he'd been there and done it. And I think, but the thing was at the time, and this is again, it's quite weird that Martin and John never took a session at all. Martin would come out and run us into the ground, and it was hilarious. It would be on the training ground, and there'd be some goalposts over somewhere, and there'd be something else somewhere, and he'd just go round those goalposts, round that, back here, 35 seconds, go. And you know, there was no like, you know, these days all the cones are set out, and it's all very precise and exact. So it was Steve Walford who took the training every day, and I love Wally to bits. He was a great coach, great bloke. But Martin and Ian, what they did is the players that they brought in. And I think there was only one in my time that I thought didn't really fit in with them, and he was a right good lad and a good player, Graham Fenton. He never fitted in to what we had. But if you think about, I know they watched me for a season because I was at Wednesday with David Pleat, and it was at the time where my contract ran out at the beginning of the season, and because there wasn't the Bosman thing at the time, I played out a contract on very, very seriously low money. But I was getting in and out of the team. And David, he was a bit of a school teacher character, and he kept telling me that Martin and John had come in to watch me in games. And this was throughout the season. And then they were asking him questions, they were asking this and that. But if you think about, they brought Muzzy in on the same day as myself. No one had heard of Muzzy. And like I've just said before, I think personally the best signing Leicester have ever made. Do you know, pound for pound? I mean, maybe Jamie Vardy now. You look at Jamie Vardy, and as we're talking about our day, I think Jamie is the kind of player that you would have had in our day. He's that old school. I mean, he lived down the road from where my parents live. He's, he played for Stocksbridge and things like that. And he's a proper old school player. But yeah, you just, I think that, as a group, we responded to them well because we had a lot of respect for them, but they didn't actually do a lot of the day-to-day stuff. But I do think that they both knew a player, and the players that they brought in, so like, Muzzy, your Claridge, players like that came in. And, I know Steve had a lot of problems when he came in, and no one knew that he'd got this thyroid problem. And once that got sorted out, he was a great player fantastic player for us. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer, but the work he put in was like unbelievable. So they did more of that. I didn't really see him on the training ground much on a day-to-day basis, but the new football.
Yeah. Reedy, we'll talk a bit about the Man City game because now it's more up to date now. How can we actually get anything? I know it's a tough one. How can we actually get anything from Man City on Wednesday night?
If Haaland's injured, if Foden's injured, if De Bruyne's injured, you might have a chance. You might have the slimmest of chances. But I will say the positive going into this game was, and a lot of people are going to say we lost 2-0 in the end, but we did perform very well against them at home. So I don't know. There's every chance. You can always beat someone away, even if it's Man City as well. They've had an awful season for them anyway this season. Into the rate of what they have been doing. So you never know. You never know if our defence decides to actually start trying to defend crosses and shots, then we might have a good chance. But it all depends if Haaland's shooting boots are on or not.
Nick, can you see us get anything from the game on Wednesday? I think it's saying Tuesday, but it's Wednesday, isn't it?
No.
Wow.
No, come on. Even if those players that Reedy says they ain't played, they've still got enough in like their youth academy or the reserve team to probably smash us by 4. Let's be fair. You didn't mention Grealish and players like that.
Oh, I can't stand him, so I didn't say it.
Do you know what, Reedy? He's probably as close as to what Julian's been saying in the type of player that we've got nowadays, where he would go to the clubs and pubs and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he prefers to be a celebrity than a footballer.
He do well with that hairstyle, with all of their like
David Beckham married a bloody Spice Girl and stuff. He was still a class player.
What do you think, Julian, about Wednesday night yourself? I don't know how many times you've been able to see Leicester with with what you do coaching wise nowadays.
I still
think. How do you see Leicester so far this year?
Do you know what? I think they've got the makings of a good team, and I think they have spells. And I get this when I coach, and I think probably every team does that. You get spells where you're in the game and you're doing well in the game, but those spells need to last longer. You can't do well for 20 minutes, and this is the top teams do well for larger spells. They might have, and in any game, you can see the FA Cup this weekend, and what you can say is that. Even the worst team playing the best team, they'll have a spell of 5 or 10 minutes where they're in the game and they've got the ball, but it's only 5 or 10 minutes. And what Leicester are doing at the moment, they're in the game for periods. The periods need to be longer, and they're just not quite doing that. And I look at the team sheets, and I'm thinking, it's a good lineup that they're sending out there. And again, they'll be at Man City on Wednesday, and it'll be, they'll be making sure they don't concede. And it'll be the point they concede that, and we've talked about it over and over again. You'll as you've said, you'll see the disappointment in the faces, and you'll see what do we do now? And if they hold out and they nick a goal, great. And they have got the chance to do this, but as every game goes by, it's just getting further and further away, and it's getting becoming a bigger and bigger task. And you see the teams around us actually getting the odd decent result, and that just adds to the gloom, unfortunately. And like I say, it just needs to be more spells like that in the game, but I don't think they can sustain what they're doing.
Just going back on to sorry, Reedy, again, I'm going to miss you out on this one. It's another question for Julian about the team formation, because we've played a flat back four. We've tried to play the inverted fullback, which probably wasn't in your day even heard about an inverted fullback. And we're now back to, can you imagine Simon Grayson probably could have played that quite well, actually, couldn't it?
I think in my day, an inverted fullback was probably the fullback that didn't go to the bar. So
that's what I was thinking.
He's totally changed. I mean, you look at, for me, a 4-2-3-1 is a 4-4-2 with a number with a 10. The formations haven't changed that much. They put a different spin on it and stuff like that. I mean, I just see the best teams in the world. I mean, and not my team, but I'm really low down. But I play a 4-3-3. I think for me, a back four deals with every formation. So if you play three centre backs against a 4-3-3, I think you're in trouble, because a 4-3-3 that goes wide, do you go man for man? You don't. So you bring your wing backs in. So you've got 5 against 3, which means you've got 2 spare players. That means they've got 2 spare players somewhere on the pitch, and they will have a dominance on the pitch, probably in the midfield area. So for me, a back four sorts everything out. A 4-4-2, a 4-3-3, it deals with everything. And then after that, for me, I play a 4-3-3, but he's been playing this 4-2-3-1 with 2 pivots, and it's kind of not working, and so something needs to change. But again, then it's the personnel, and I do look at the squad and think we have got the personnel to do well. I do. I seriously see players, and I think he's a good player. Why isn't this working a little bit better than it is? So it's so frustrating to watch him at the moment.
Steve Reedy, you're agreeing with Julian there. What were you agreeing about? The team or the formation? What was it you were thinking?
Well, at the start of the season, I honestly was thinking the team was good enough, but throughout the 2 managers we've had this season, it was dawning on me that we haven't got a team of players who are good enough. We've got individuals who can do moments in the game. You've got Alcudia, who, yes, he hasn't got many goals or assists, but on the ball he looks quality. You've got like some Aberdeen, who, yes, he's been awful this season, but there's a player in there. If he can uses his abilities to his maximum, he can get somewhere with it. FaZe, who he has been decent in the past, but this season he's been woeful. Again, there's players in this team that have been good, but they're just not performing together as a team right now.
Yeah, there was the one question I want to ask you, Julian, because I don't know whether you've been to the new the new hotel at Seagrave, but do you think that's a bit of a distraction? Because when you used to be there, you used to be at Beaver Drive, you used to go through the housing estate, and you used to see like the common man going to work, but now it's right out in the sticks, golf course, spa. You'd have loved that. Can you imagine Marshall lying on a lilo in that swimming pool? He'd have loved that, wouldn't it? Do you think could be becoming a bit of a distraction now, having a £100 million training ground?
I'm not sure. I mean, I would have loved it. I know we trained at Beaver Drive and we were on 2 sloped pitches. The pitches sloped from side to side. They weren't flat pitches. That's what we trained on. There were 2 pitches there, and that was it. So I think if I could sort of put anything to that question, it's that is the hunger there? Do you know when you walk into these fantastic facilities? We walked in and, like you say, we were scrapping for absolutely everything. We walked in, nothing was, fantastic. I mean, I actually went back about a year after I'd left, and they'd actually got a kitchen there and they'd got food. And we never had that. We could get a cup of tea in the morning. But when I went back and there was a gym there, and I was like, oh man, this was at Beaver Drive, and it was like, and there was a kitchen there, and there were chefs, and they were cooking food, and I was like, oh my God, wow. This has gone up a notch, and then obviously they've now got the training ground that they've got, and it is that thing. Do you feel as a player, and again, the money that they earn, the training ground, do they feel that I've done it? I'm all right. I've done it now. We did, you know, I certainly didn't. You know, I'm still working now because the wages that we earn weren't. You can't retire on them, whereas they can now. So we had that hunger and that desire, and I do wonder, and it might not be a thing, but I do wonder if that's, you know, part of the problem. But interesting for what Reedy just said there about, you know, Mavididi, because I don't watch them as much as you guys do, and I try to, but I see something in him as well. And I look at what Notts Forest are doing. They've got 2 wide players that will go past players and create something. They've got a striker who none of us would have thought it, but he's banging goals in for fun, you know, Chris Wood, and he's suiting their style of play fantastically. And I'm thinking, that's all it is. The rest of the team work really hard. The back four's good. The midfield, they work hard, but they've literally got the 2 wide players who will create something and a striker who's scoring. And that's it. That's their game plan. And they're up there where they are. I don't see why we can't do that. I really don't. And for me, Mavididi, I've seen him on his good days. So, Reedy, I apologise because I've not seen him as much as you have this year. But I've seen him on his good days and thinking, and I look at the teams and I'm like, why is he not playing? You know, and
he has been awful this season.
Other guys, you've got players with fantastic ability. So pack that front part of the team with those players and get a good solid back four and a couple of midfielders behind it. Let them go and play. And like you, be a bit like we were, you know, get the ball forward, go and play, get it in that final third and let them deal with that and let the defence deal with, you know, what's coming at them. And at the moment, like you say, we're trying to play this style of football that, well, it's clearly not working.
Yeah. Nick, what's your views on the training ground? Is it hindrance or is it what? I'm not sure. I can't remember what you used to say about the training ground.
It is a hindrance, especially for the modern day player, because going to Beaver Drive, like Julian said, it kept players grounded. You'd see, you know, the old dear going with a supermarket bag and stuff, you know, going to Quick Save or whatever because she's struggling to make ends meet. But if you're on 100 grand a week or 90 grand a week now, and you go into Centre Parks, you're not really going to be bothered, are you? Let's be fair.
No.
You know, but as if you're going through all that, you are going to look around and say, "Oh, hang on a second, this is a bit different around here." So.
Last question before we let you go, Julie. Much appreciated. I know it was very short notice. I asked you here, but just before you go, Julian. Apart from Jamie Vardy, because he's your neck of the woods, you can't pick Jamie Vardy. Who do you think is our best player at the minute? Because you can't be biased towards Jamie Vardy.
It's a difficult one.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, and it would be Jamie, just because I think he's got the heart and soul of the club, you know, and that's how we were. So I sort of see that, but I mean, I don't really see anyone that other than that stands out. I see a squad that could be good, but there's no one. And I think, you know, if you look back at our time, you'd have looked at Muzzy and gone, yeah, he stands out. You know, I've just spoke with Scotty Taylor the other week, you know, effort, heart, everything that you needed. Steve Claridge, absolutely the same. And like, you know, we've talked about it and touched on it quite a lot this morning. We don't see that in this team, you know, and I think that's the unfortunate thing, you know, for me and for the rest of the lads. I mean, I'm trying to sort out a day out in the summer, and I've spoke to Marsha, not spoke to Walsh yet, and we'll go and do that as a group. And I don't see that in this.
Marsha's about to say yes.
Well, yeah, yeah, but he's not bright enough to turn up at the right time at the right place, so it might not happen. But I've spoken to a couple of the lads and said, you know, we're overdue a get together. I mean, like, you know, I left and Taggart arrived, but I still get on great with Jerry, and I'm sure he'll be coming out as well. Still speak to Matty Elliott quite a lot. I just don't see that, you know, in the current team. So it'd be really difficult to pick someone out. You know, I think like Daka scored the 4 goals in Europe a few years ago, and you were thinking, oh, you know, has he got something? And then unfortunately, he's not. I know. I've got you there, Reedy. And then you're thinking, though, have we got this player? Because he's got the pace and that, and then but he's constantly in the team. And you know, again, why is Mavididi not playing? And he is. You know, he's a striker, not playing as a striker. Is that where we are as a team? People playing out of position, and you've probably got better options. So I'm unfortunately going to sort of plead the fifth on this, and just I can't pick anyone out because there's a lot of good in there. There's a lot of good in there, but there's no one who stands out. And there's definitely, like I say, I know Reedy's mentioned this. There's definitely no leaders in there, and that is sadly what we're so lacking at the moment. That would be, 2 or 3 more Vardys in the team that are, the heart and soul of the club that we were fortunate to have in our day, and that's what's needed, and it's sadly not there.
One last question, Julian, just for you, because we can't answer it. Where are you managing nowadays? Which you can say whereabouts are you? What's doing?
No, I mean, so I live in Sheffield, where I'm from. I'm managing Worksop Town Reserves. The first team are flying. My job is to produce players for the first team, which is very difficult because we're literally about 5 divisions below them. So I have a very young team playing at like step 12 in the Central Midlands Premier League. But I've got like yesterday 16-year-olds playing for me. I've got my son in the team, which obviously I'm trying to drag him through. He's a late developer, just like I was, doing really well. So it's an interesting environment. I've got a meeting with the chairman on Wednesday about we can get a few promotions, but we don't pay players. So, and like I say, I've got the majority of my team is under 20, and we're playing in a league of teams with big blokes in it, big physical, strong lads. Like we drew 0-0 yesterday. It was a local derby actually, and we played ever so well. But the physicality is the real sort of issue with the team. But it's interesting for me to manage through this, and then hopefully, I mean, I've had 1 or 2 players. In fact, the first team got into the guaranteed the playoffs now, and they've signed several of the reserve team youngsters, and that's a nice thing for me. I'm sort of in a position where I'm bringing players through, so it's quite a nice position. I'd like to manage higher, but those opportunities don't come along.
Paul that asked the question says Swallow Nest FC. Does that ring any bells to you?
It does. I mean, I know Paul. I went to school with Paul, so Paul's a Sheffield lad who's now down your neck of the woods. Good lad. Swallow Nest. Never had the phone call. They are close to me. I'm not sure what their situation is at the moment, but I've managed in that league before. And like I say, it's so difficult getting the opportunities these days. I feel like I could manage it at a much higher level. But when you've been out of the game for a bit, and then it's so hard to get back in.
All right, and Julian. Anyway, by the way, I forgot to say, if you're ever looking for a day out or a few days out, Alcudia is available. You know where I am.
Do you know? I've been trying to sort out with Baz and saying, he's got his own place at Porto Cristo, and I've been trying to sort it out for a few years and saying, we'll go to his place and we'll come up and have a day with you. So I am trying to sort that out, and I would genuinely love to come and have a bit of a day sesh with him. We could chew the fat.
I've had a few ex-Leicester players in, so your name will be on the wall of fame or wall of shame. I'm not sure which wall it actually. One of the two.
Yeah, it was both in our day, so don't worry about it.
All right, Julian, much appreciated, and thank you.
No worries at all. Anytime.
Thanks a lot for coming on this morning. Cheers, Julian. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
There we go. Reedy's not sure what to say now because he's probably learned a lesson there, Nick, about football a little bit.
I think do you remember in Snoopy where the parents used to speak and stuff, and the kids used to hear wah 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 wah? That's all Reedy's heard for the last 30 minutes. He's got no clue.
Right, we'll leave it there, Nick. Thanks for joining us. You said
mate.
We've got absolutely no chance of getting anything
I
on
can't
Tuesday
see
night.
it, mate.
Wednesday night, sorry.
I can't see it. Well, hey, you never know.
Right,
2.5 weeks off, something may arise, but I doubt it.
Wow. We all thought something was going to happen 2.5 weeks ago, but it never did it? All right then, Nick.
No.
Cheers, pal. Thanks for joining
Okay,
me,
guys.
mate.
See you later.
Week. There we go. Well, Reedy, did you learn something today about old school football? You actually learned a bit of history today, didn't you?
Thanks for my history lesson. Didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to go back to school. It's fine.
Well, there you go. Well, we had to fill an hour because we could have been an hour early, knowing my reputation of when the clocks go backwards and forwards. But
there you go.
Yeah, Reedy, so you'll be there. They actually cut the tickets down, didn't they? There was meant to be 3,500, and now there's only 1,800, isn't there? Something like that.
I think so, yeah.
But
And I'm not surprised. Huh?
You sound really interested about that you're going.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Chapter's gone for a 5-0. Oh, bloody hell, they're all got. We're not doing score reviews. If them first two are going 5-0, I'm not saying that at all. Like I say, Reader, you're going. Good luck to you, pal. Enjoy your half a day off. Or
Hey,
day
it
off
could be a real historical win at the Etihad Stadium, mate. It could be. You never know. That's why I'm going. There's always a chance.
What happened the last time we won there?
We won the league, mate.
No, we didn't actually, because we beat them 5-2, wasn't it? I forgot that one.
Well, we beat them there before we won the league, so.
Yeah. Well then, Reedy, I shall see you through the week. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window, pal.
On the keyhole, don't worry.
See you later, mate. Be good. There we go, lads and lasses. Much appreciated for you joining me, and Julian joining us last minute. Just a bit of a last minute thing. But once again, thank you for joining me every Sunday morning at 9:30. It's been absolutely fantastic once again. But just a little bit of homework before you go. Please like and share whatever platform you're watching it on, whether you're watching it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, LinkedIn. Click that button. Much appreciated. That like button, that subscribe button. It helps us grow. There goes the final whistle. Come on, you foxes. Ciao, ciao. Adios. Goodbye. Todd's veins. Come on, Leicester.
The Leicester City machine is on the march again.
Leicester Fan TV presents a variety of content like fan discussions, match analysis, and engaging with Leicester fans worldwide. We want your views live, thanks to our sponsors, Everard's, Pucker Pies, Hologram, Take Me, Newbie & Co, and the Fox's Arms.
Want to watch more content like this? Hit the like button. Give us your views. Hit subscribe to Leicester Fan TV and make sure to follow Leicester Fan TV on all socials.